All right. So let me start with the Dhanvantari prayer. Quick. Om Namami Dhanvantarim Hadidevam Surasurairvandita Padapadmam Loke Jararugbhayamrutyunasham धातारमीशं विविधौषधीनाम् ॐ गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. Right. So, okie dokie. So, should we start about heart health or Dinacharya first? You guys tell me and we'll start. We have a very closed group today. We have only six of us today, but you can ask me and I'll probably talk about things that you want me to talk about. No preference. Okay. If there's no preference, then I will start with Dinacharya.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, Dinacharya is mainly what is it that you do as soon as you wake up in the morning, right? What time do you wake up? That is first thing that is very, very important. Talks about Brahme Muhurte Uttishte, which means you have to wake up. I'm going to mute you quickly. I think I'm hearing myself, so I'm going to just mute you really quick. I'm going to mute Priyanka as well. Okay, that way there's no disturbance. So Brahme Muhurte Uttishte, which means you wake up 48 minutes before sunrise. And of course, when in summer, if the sunrise is at 5 a.m., you have to wake up at 4:15. Actually, I know someone who does that. The one of the board of director that I work with, she wakes up every single day at 3. And she's actually motivated me because 3 a.m., like the universe is all quiet and you get all the ideas and you'll be able to do a lot of work at that time. You'll be able to do a lot of self work and you'll be able to do a lot of work because there's not a lot of disturbances that you have. So that is something that she has motivated me as well. I don't wake up at 3, disclaimer. I do wake up at 5 though. So that is something that your our acharyas have told us because of few things. In the morning, at that time, 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. is Vata Kala, which is the time of wind. And because wind is high at that time, your subtle energy is high. So, if you have to meditate and work on yourself, that is a perfect time for you to meditate because the universe also has that kind of a high energy and conducive for you to meditate and conducive for you to work on yourself. Number one. Number two, because it is Vata Kala, your movements are happening the way they're supposed to. So the bowel movement can happen automatically and you don't have to work upon the bowel movement. So when you wake up, it happens automatically because of the vata working the way it is supposed to. The peristalsis is going to work the way it is supposed to. So that is the second reason why you will be able to, uh, you'll be more productive when you wake up at that time. And number three is that you have that state of mind to be able to absorb anything, study anything, understand anything during that time because of the conducive environment at that time. So because of all of these reasons, the acharyas have mentioned that Brahme Muhurte Uttishthe, which means you have to wake up early in the morning, which is going to be conducive for you for all of these reasons. Yeah. Then Second thing is to brush your teeth. I mean, of course, after you do your bowel movement, the bowel movement, urination, all of that is happening. After that is when danta dhavana is what it's called. This is brushing your teeth. I'm going to just put it here, danta dhavana, brushing your teeth. Here, because our mouth has all excessive kapha, all the undigested food that was there from previous times is all coming into your mouth and you have to process it. So, you have to use the kind of the brush or the paste that you used has to have the qualities of astringent bitter tastes. It cannot have sweet taste. And that is why in the olden days they used to use neem twig. Neem twig is also coming into the market these days that you can buy it and you can use the neem twig. You actually make a nice, it has that bristles, nice bristles that you can make. You chew upon it with your teeth and then you brush your teeth with it so that astringent taste and the bitter taste is going to be removing all of the unnecessary kapha that is present in your body, in your mouth. So that is what you do dantadhavana. Now, we don't get neem twigs. It's not possible for us to get it easily. So the best thing that you can do is get neem powder. If you want to, powders are going to be beneficial. You can get neem powder. You can get triphala powder. Or even the easiest is if you know of a brand called Vico, Vajradanti is what a Vico powder. It has that a bitter and astringent taste as well. So you can use that and you can brush your teeth with this powder instead of the toothpaste because toothpaste has lots of sweet taste sweeteners added to it and you're trying to remove that excessive kapha and it's not as conducive. If these powders are not as conducive and you don't want to deal with the mess, then the best one that I like is Dabur Red toothpaste. So this has that other qualities also. I know I'm giving you some things that are mentioned in the textbooks, but I'm also giving you and practically what you can do, right? So brushing your teeth is done in this way. After you brush your teeth, then the next thing you do is something called gandusha, which is oil pulling because you want your gums to be stronger. And for the gums to be stronger, you can use, like sesame oil or better to use sesame oil. Just take 1 teaspoon of sesame oil and you're going to be doing oil pulling until you're not able to hold this in your mouth. Your mouth is all full and you're not able to hold it anymore. Until then, you're going to be doing that oil pulling because you're removing all of the mucus that is present along with this oil. And this oil is going to strengthen your gums as well. So that is the next thing that you will be doing. Again, you don't have to be stopping your work. If you have to go down to the kitchen, if you have to do things, then you can just do oil pulling, and that's going to be good for your, oral health, your lips, and everything as well. Yeah. And the next thing that they have recommended is putting like a anjana, but I don't think it's practical. That is not something that I do, so I'm not suggesting that to any of you here. The next thing that I do is applying oil on your body, which is abhyanga. This is the most important thing. If it's one thing that you have to incorporate in your routine is applying oil to your body, right? So this is something that you get like a hot plate, and on a hot plate, get a steel container and pour some organic unrefined sesame oil. That is something that I use, but you can use medicated oils also. You can the brand that I like with the sesame oil is Kevala brand, is something that I like. Or you can do Banyan Botanicals, also has good brand. You can get that sesame oil, make sure that it's warm enough, and that warm sesame oil you're going to be applying all over your body. When you apply all over your body, this is called oleation. This is called snehana. Snehana is friendship. Snehana is in Sanskrit, the other meaning for snehana means friendship. That is the love that you're showing towards your body. This oil that you're applying all over your body, you're showing that kind of love to your skin. Now, when you apply, you make sure that you leave it on for 10 to 15 minutes. The practical way of doing this is having, clothes that you don't care, and you wear that clothes after you apply oil so that you can, if you want to go out for a run, if you want to, go out for a walk, or if you have to do some things in your kitchen, you don't have to sit down and just wait. None of us have enough time we wish that we have a lot of time to just apply oil and sit there for 15 minutes and not do anything. But for practical purposes, what I would suggest is apply, put some clothes that you don't care, and then go down. And if you have to do Surya Namaskars, if you have to, do some stationary biking that you have, anything that you do that will induce that sweating. So when you do that, the pores are opened up, the sweat pores are opened up, and this oil can penetrate deeper. And this oil acts as a medium to activate your hunger as well. Right? It goes in, it seeps through your skin pores, and through the skin pores it goes into your through your samana vayu is what we call. It goes and it kindles your digestive fire. So that's what abhyanga is beneficial for, kindling your digestive fire as well. Again, very important for you to remember, there are contraindications for everything. It's not that because I said abhyanga is the best thing that I would like for you to use, I don't want you to use, I don't want you to just do it anytime that you want to. Never apply warm oil if there is any sickness, if you're suffering from cold, cough, fever, or infection, any skin infection, any active infection that you're experiencing, stay away from abhyanga. If you have undigested food, if there is indigestion that you're suffering from, then stay away from abhyanga. If you're menstruating and if you're pregnant as well, then stay away from abhyanga. So these are the main contraindications that I wanted to let you know, that you want to stay away from it. But otherwise, anybody and everybody will be able to apply these oils and get benefited. Your skin is going to be better. There's a lot of absorption that happens. A lot of us are suffering from vitamin D deficiencies. And this is one way you're opening up the skin pores and you're giving that nutrition through the skin pores, allowing for a proper vitamin D absorption as well, and kindling the digestive fire. And believe it or not, it also is beneficial for your eyes. A lot of times, little kids are going through a lot of trouble with their eyesight. So many of them are having diminished eyesight. So this is going to be benefiting with the increasing of the eyesight, I mean improving of the eyesight as well. So abhyanga, applying it all over your body, and doing exercise. And after abhyanga, if you're able to, again, I don't do this, but I just wanted to let you know, if you have time and if you're able to, rub the entire oil with something called udvartana, which is a powder. So you can get a powder like a triphala powder, chickpea flour, mung flour. You can get these flours and you can apply all of that flour on the body. Get rid of the excessive oil and then shower with hot shower afterwards. This way, you're going to be removing excessive oil with the powder, and you're going to be removing that excessive fat. This gharshana is what we call rubbing of that powder on the entire body. This rubbing of the powder is going to be allowing for the fat that is present to melt, and fat that is present to be able to move. So that will help with the movement of any stuck fat that is present in the body. So, Udvartana is something that you can do, but be careful that it can clog your drainage because of the powder that is present, oil that is present. So, be sure that the drainage is working very, very well. And again, I told you I'm going to give you practical things also. So, for that practical purpose, I have not included that, but you can include that if you have bandwidth and if you know that this is something that you have time for. After this, then showering. Showering is very important. There are rules for showering as well. That shower, you do it from, from neck and below. You do shower with lukewarm water, lukewarm or even warm water. But from neck and above, it has to be room temperature water. Do not apply excessive hot water, shower coming onto your scalp. Do not have hot shower onto your scalp. Very, very important. Because all your indriyas, all your senses are in this area. Your eyes, your nose, your ears, your tongue, skin, all of the sense organs are here in this area. And they're all protected by kapha. They're all protected by this kapha that is present in this region. If you shower with hot shower, then you are creating disruption for that area, and that's why do not do hot shower for the neck and above region, but neck and below you can do hot shower, or a little bit higher than the lukewarm. So shower right after abhyanga, udvartana, and shower is something that you have to do. Then coming with breakfast. You have to remember that there is proper hunger for you to be able to eat your breakfast. It all depends upon the kind of activities that you have throughout the day. If you are a sports person, if you are lifting weights, if you are doing a lot of gym, lot of activity, exercise, if you're a soldier, if you are a construction worker, which requires a lot of physical work, then it is important for you to eat proper breakfast in the morning. But if your work requires that you're sitting at like a desk job, and you're not moving so much and there's not a lot of hunger, then maybe just stick with a hot cup of milk, warm cup of milk in the morning, or some warm porridge that you can have, like a oatmeal porridge, or a millet porridge. So these are all the things that you can have, like a hot beverage in the morning. Otherwise, it is best to just stick with like a herbal tea. It all depends on how much hunger you have, right? So that is your breakfast. After that, then your work and all of that happens. Lunch has to happen between 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Your lunch should be done by about 12:31, because that's the time sun is at its peak. And you want to make sure this is the largest meal of the day. You can do like a brunch where 10:30, 11, you're going to be finishing your brunch. So when the sun is at its peak at 12 p.m., it is able to digest the food that you have eaten, and it's able to break down the food that you have eaten. And then you will be able to, after that, it is important that you do Shatapauli, which is walking for some time right after you have eaten your food. Again, walking for some time only. I did not say vigorous exercise. No vigorous exercise after you have eaten your food, because the food that you eat has to be in a particular area only. It cannot be, moving from one area to another area. It has to be staying in one area only. If you are doing vigorous exercise, the food will not stay in the stomach area and it will be moving to different areas. But your digestive fire is only in the stomach. It cannot move as your food moves, right? So it is important for you to make sure that the food stays in the stomach. Food stays in the stomach, and but the kapha does not kick in. If you don't walk right after your meals, then there's going to be that lethargy that kicks in, that you'll not even know how to process things. All of that brain fog happens after. So important for you to make sure that you are walking for at least 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes after you have eaten your food, so that there is some movement that is happening and that excessive kapha is not going to allow your brain fog to kick in. Yeah. Then after the evening is for having fun. That's the time that creativity can happen, in the evening between 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Again, the evening creativity. There was a morning creativity that happened. That's when you woke up, Brahme Muhurte, you woke up in the morning, and that creativity is there. And then the afternoon creativity, which is between, again, 4 to 6 p.m. So at that time, you can do any of the important work that you want to, and you can sip on some herbal teas. You can have like like a piece of fruit or anything like that, but do not combine any of the milk containing beverages along with the fruit. That is very important. So you can have either herbal tea, or you can have fruit or anything like that, to just reduce the vata that would be building up, because during this time vata is again high. So to just keep that vata in check is why you take these herbal teas and you allow for the stability to kick in. Then after that, you have to make sure that you are finishing your meal. Your dinner has to be light. Ideally, before 7 p.m., you should be able to finish your dinner. And this dinner is light. Again, it cannot be as heavy as your lunch. Unfortunately, because we work in the morning and we don't have as much time and we cannot be eating elaborately in the morning, we have switched to eating heavy dinners. And that is what is causing the increased inflammation and increased indigestion. And that is why it is important that we switch it, and we switch that to dinner. We are going to be eating, like proper. You can have like just some rice, some kind of grain. It can be lentils, rice. It can be like a millet kind of a bread. Any of these that you can eat along with some cooked vegetables with spices, or along with lentils and spices. Or you can have soup. You can actually have good amount of minced garlic along with all the herbs in the seasoning, and you can add that to any of the soups that you want to do. You can do like a beetroot, carrot. You can have celery, a radish. Radish is going to be good, or lentils, or mixed vegetables, or sweet potato, kale. Any of these soups that you can have with grain is something that you can have, which is light, and you have 2 hours before your bedtime. Make sure that you're winding down by about 9:30. 9:30 is when you wind down. And then you have your Ratri Charya. Dinacharya is something that you do in the morning. Ratri Charya is when you do in the evening. Here, you want to make sure that you are winding down. You're not aggravated. You're not wired up about things to do. And then you are, apply oil on your feet if you want to, play water sounds in the room if you want to, put some lavender pouches under your pillow, play some yoga nidra sounds, play some good instrumental music if you want to, but do not, watch your screen and stay away from your screen. Withdraw yourself from the daily activity so that your mind is now knowing that you're preparing yourself for sleep. Because for you to sleep, kapha is much, much more important. If vata is more, then you're hyper. In even though you go onto the bed, your mind is fully active and you will not be able to fall asleep. So for that reason, it is important that you create that stability. And that stability is created from withdrawal. And that stability is created from keeping the room cool, making sure that you have a heavy weighted blanket. So all of these are going to be beneficial. So by 10 p.m., 10:30 p.m., you're actually falling asleep. So you have enough time before you wake up again in the morning. So these are all the things. Again, if you have to do all the things that are mentioned in the textbook, then you will not, 24 hours will not be enough. Now, within this meantime, you want to make sure that you incorporate breath work and meditation as well. Now, there are two periods that you can incorporate this. The first period is the first Vata Kala, as soon as you wake up in the morning and you have your bowel movement and you have you excrete. Then you can incorporate the breath work and meditation at that time. Or the second time that you can, or you can also do second time in the afternoon time. Then the second Vata Kala is happening. That is, again, you can include your breath work and meditation at that time, because these are the two times that your creativity kicks in, and you want to make sure that you channel that creativity. And this channeling of the creativity is going to be happening by doing this breath work and meditation. So that is mainly the gist of how the entire Dinacharya is going to be working for us. And this is easy. I mean, again, you have to weave this into your daily routine. It's not like you're doing this separately. It's like, oh my God, I have to just apply oil. Oh my God, I have to do this. And another thing that you can also incorporate, this is something that I do for myself also, most of the times, not every day, but including Nasya in your daily routine. And this Nasya can be included after you have brushed your teeth and after you have done your the uh, oil pulling. After the oil pulling, then you can always incorporate something called nasya. Nasya is very important to remove excessive kapha that is present in these areas. You don't want excessive mucus to be in these areas. And the nasya that you can use is anutailam. And I can put this here. This Anutailam, you want to make sure that you are lying down on the bed, and it's in the opposite side of the bed. You lie down and put your head back. Make sure that you close one of the nostrils. Put 2 drops in one nostril and 2 drops in the other nostril. Wait for all of the mucus to get collected and spit it out. Again, the idea of using bitter astringent kind of tooth powders and using nasya, all of this is to remove the excessive kapha and excessive mucus that is present in this area. So that is these are the main dinacharyas that I do for myself, and that is how I keep my sanity. And I thought that I would share that with all of you. And I'm open for any questions that you might have right now. I know I've been talking and talking and talking. But the second Vata Kala is in the afternoon between 4 p.m. to 6. I mean, 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. really, Priyanka. But maximum it will be at 4 p.m. So these are all the things that you can easily incorporate. And again, if you read Ashtanga Hridayam, Sutrasthana Dinacharya Adhyaya, he also said what kind of friends you need to choose, who do you need to spend with at what time of the day. He said corporate meetings, what time of the day should you have? Friendly meetings, what time of the day you should have? He has exactly given each and every one of that. Sadvrutta is what he calls. So those are all very, very elaborately described in the chapters. But I just chose to give you some practical things that you can do on a daily basis. So this book is called Ashtanga Hridaya. So this is something that's written by Vagbhata, and this was written 5,000 years ago. And there's many versions that are present for this Ashtanga Hridayam Angela, but I go and I read the main Sanskrit version. There are many English translations that are present. You can absolutely start with the English translation and see the second chapter of Sutrasthana is what talks about all the things that I just spoke about, all the Dinacharya that I just spoke about is in the second chapter. Yeah. Good. So, any questions that any of you have from?
So, I have a question. So, after doing Abhyanga, so in order to remove the excess oil, I think you mentioned three things: Tripala, chickpea, and what is the third one?
Mung flour.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
But if we cannot do the with the powders, can we directly use the soap? Will
Absolutely
it
okay.
work?
Absolutely okay.
Okay.
And that's what I do. My full confession, that's what I do because I don't have time and my drain is not as good to use the flowers as well. It becomes messy. I've tried it a few times. Whenever I have time, I do it, but I don't do it. I don't use the flowers.
Thanks.
Mhm. Any other questions?
How often is good to oil your hairs?
Oil your hair, scalp is what you have to oil, not the hair. That's the
Okay,
difference.
yeah.
So you have to oil the scalp, which is the root, and honestly, Ashtangardem says you have to do it every day. There are three places that he says on a daily basis you have to and you must apply oil. One is to your feet, and one is to your scalp, and the other is into your ears. He says that these three areas, because vata is has to be kept in check, these three areas you have to and you must oil every day. But for practicality, what do? I oil twice a week. That's what I do. Comment on a bit on coffee with milk versus herbal teas. One is too relaxing and one is energizing. Yeah, so coffee is like a shot that you're giving to your nervous system. You're just giving like that kind of a shock to the nervous system also, and you're awakening the nervous system like that. And if that is happening on a daily basis, then your nervous system is used to that shock all the time. No, you don't want that to happen. But herbal teas, on the other end, are going to calm you down. The whole goal, Prabha, is to calm your nervous system, especially in this day and age that we are in. Our nervous system is always wired up. And that's why inflammation is on the rise. So we want to make sure that we include herbal teas and we rely on the herbal teas. If not, if we're relying on the coffee to awaken ourselves all the time, then we're using that external things to awaken ourselves, and we don't want that to our nervous system. We don't want our nervous system to be energized and jolted and shocked like that on a daily basis. I mean, once in a while, if you have to wake up and if you have to do, you can do that, but this is not something that you want to do on a daily basis. Any other questions? And this session is mainly for, there's a lot of confusion that happens, and there's only so much that I can do in my own appointments, and that's why I thought any general questions also, not just Dinacharya. If you have any other questions also, you can absolutely ask, and I'll be able to try and answer them.
So I have a question about oil pulling.
Yeah.
So I understand that it would help to strengthen the muscle, but
Hmm.
I wonder if
Your
the
gums.
if the gums if the amount of gums is very less, then would it help to grow more gums to strengthen that?
You're talking about receding gums. You're talking about
Yes.
if you have receding gums, will oil pulling help in building new gums?
Yeah.
I would what it does is it strengthens it, but not builds a new muscle to begin with. I mean, because your gum is mainly a skin and muscle tissue that is present, and it's not going to be helpful in rebuilding it. That's not what it's going to be helpful. But if the gums are prone to receding, and there's not a lot of nourishment that your gums are receiving, then oil pulling is going to be beneficial for keeping the strength.
Okay.
And then the most important thing that you should also remember is to floss. This is something that I tell all my clients as well. I know dental health is extremely important. So making sure that you're flossing, and after flossing, you're going to be oil pulling. Then you see that the gum sits on the teeth very, very well, and very strongly. It'll stick to the teeth.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Angela, you're saying absolutely. The fennel and cumin tea can be taken every day. Again, Angela, I always say that it's always important. Why are you taking it, right? The fennel and cumin tea is going to be good for your pitta. It's going to be good for your digestion. It's going to be fennel is cooling also. It can bring things down. It can cool also, along with improving your digestive system. That's not a problem. You can absolutely take it on a daily basis. But again, what are you taking it with is what are you taking it for is important. If you're taking it for your digestion, improving your digestion, it's absolutely okay. You can do that. What does Ayurveda say about bradycardia, especially after viral infections such as flu or COVID? Yeah. So, for those of you who don't know about bradycardia, bradycardia is more of the slowing of the heart rate. Tachycardia is increasing of the heart rate, and bradycardia is slowing of the heart rate. Viral infections such as flu or COVID, what happens is there is a lot of attack on your immune system. Your immunity is fighting back. During this process, what happens is all the other functions can slow down because your immunity is working on this on a constant basis. Again, if your immunity is not functioning the way it is supposed to, and if your body's resources are completely used to only fighting, then your essential functions are going to be suffering. That's when you can be experiencing bradycardia because of that reason. So that tells us that the immunity of this person must be worked upon. And you want to make sure immunity of how is immunity going to be worked upon? You want to make sure that warm foods are given for this person. You want to make sure that their digestion is taken care of well. I mean, again, this is after the fact, right? Because you know that the bradycardia has happened. You know that, for the next time you're preparing them for the next time, and if you're preparing them for the next time, you want to make sure that you're incorporating everything that is possible for their immunity to grow, and that incorporation should be in the form of taking care of their digestion, along with giving them any of the supplements that are necessary. If you think that they are um, you know they they are they are suitable to take supplements like ashwagandha, or they can take supplements like neem or turmeric, which is going to be increasing their immunity. You do that, improve their immunity, so that when there is a problem, then their immunity will not be suffering as much. Number one. When bradycardia happens, and when you see that there is a lot of they're feeling that breathlessness is also happening due to that, then you want to support and make sure that you are giving some nourishment while this is happening. And there are some herbs that you can give for nourishment. And typically, depending on the digestion of this person, chavanprash is one good thing, that what we say is licking chavanprash along with food. Like just take one lick of chavanprash along with a bite of food. You take it along with that. That way, this is increasing your immune capacity, and it is strengthening your heart, and your heart will be able to function the way it is supposed to. So that is one thing that you can do. And another thing that you can also do is make sure that after the viral infection is all it is all taken care of. You've taken care of giving it herbs and making sure that the viral infection is all taken care of. Then you apply oil to that particular area, and you take steam, so that that area is all opened up and it is not as much in trouble. So these are all the things. And really, Samshamani Vati is something that I give Christy, which is a formulation that has guduchi in it. Guduchi, the name, the synonym of guduchi is thira. Guduchi. Synonym of that is sthira. Sthira means strength. Sthira means giving strength, and that's what it does. And that is something that I usually give as a paniyam, as a water. You can, just like how Angela was asking, can I drink fennel and cumin water on a daily basis? What I do is I give guduchi along with water. You boil your water along with guduchi, and that's the water that you're going to be drinking on a daily basis so that you can get strength and get immunity, and bradycardia will be addressed. Shashwati is asking, can we do oil pulling in the evening? It's not a bad idea. It is okay, but it's just that morning times is usually preferred because you're brushing your teeth, you're removing all the gunk that is not necessary in your body. If you're doing it in the evening, you want to make sure that you're removing all the gunk, but there's a lot of mucus. You want to remove any of the mucus that is present. It is okay to do it, not preferable. Good. Good questions you all have. No more questions? Priyanka,
Um,
question?
yes. The hand pound rice,
Mhm.
how long is it recommended to soak?
You
Like,
can soak it at least for 2 hours, a minimum of 2 hours, and then you can cook it. And I have to tell you, I have to confess that I don't soak it. It is
okay,
good to soak it so that it can be easily digested. The best way to do it is roast it first. As soon as you get it from the store, you want to make sure that you roast it, and after you roast it, you're going to store it in a container, and whenever you're about to cook, you can soak it for about 2 hours and then cook it on the open top, and then remove the excess starch on the top of it. Now, do I do all of this? I don't. I do not soak it. I roast it, but I do not soak it, and I cook it on the open top, and I remove the starch.
and removing starch is important.
Removing starch is kind of important, especially if there is any digestive issues. You don't want that excessive starch to go in.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah. I think I like the milk more than coffee. How many cups of milk a day instead of tea? Again, Prabha, I usually, these sessions are for healthy individuals, right? So I'm assuming that everybody is healthy, and that is when I give recommendations, because the recommendation is different for everybody. I cannot give a blanket statement of you can all drink this much milk per day. The assumption is everybody is not suffering from any imbalance. And then I would say that milk, 1 cup a day, 1 8-ounce cup of milk a day is good enough, or you can maximum do 2 cups of milk a day. But again, always making sure that you're not consuming anything that has salt, sour, and spicy foods along with milk, and you're not consuming any fruits along with milk. As long as you do that, then your milk is okay for you to consume separately by itself. And milk is known as a nectar, an elixir that is given to us. And that is something that you can consume on a daily basis, once a day or twice a day. And that is very beneficial, actually. Okay, very good question, Angela. So that what you do is, if you have 1 cup of rice, add about 4 to 5 cups of water. So you're adding extra water, and you're cooking on open top. It's not an Instapot, or it's not a electric cooker or a pressure cooker that you're cooking in. You're cooking it on an open top, and you're cooking it on the stove. And once the rice is cooked, you still have excessive water. That water you're going to put like in lid on top of it, and then you just remove that excessive starch. That's the excessive water that is present. Now, if you're on Instagram, I posted a video on this. You will be able to search that video. I did a video on how to cook rice properly. You'll be able to find that video. Any better alternative for white rice for lunch? Hand pound rice is something that I would always recommend, Trini. Or you can do, millets are okay. That's not a problem. But mainly hand pound rice is something that you can do, or even wheat flour rotis. Wheat flour bread is okay. Wheat flour flat bread is okay for you to consume. You can also consume couscous, quinoa, or buckwheat, again, depending upon what your descent is and depending upon what your ancestors were eating. Because as a South Indian, your ancestors are used to eating white rice. They're used to eating hand pound rice. They're used to eating that rice, and that's what you would consume. As a North Indian, because they're used to eating wheat flour, you can include that in your daily basis. So, depending upon what your descent is and what your ancestors were eating, that's the grain that I would like for you to consume on a daily basis for lunch. Ghee on empty stomach every day is not necessary by Jayanti. Ghee, I would actually recommend that you consume it along with your lunch and meals. It is not recommended that you take it on an empty stomach. Again, empty stomach is something that we recommend when we are doing panchakarma. During that time, we say that, you'll have to take this much amount of ghee. We give you copious amount of ghee, like 30 ml, 60 ml, 90 ml, 120 ml kind of ghee on a daily basis. So that we soak up and we make sure that all the toxins that are present are all soaked up, and that is something that we recommend. But or we also give you medicated ghee for shamana purpose, for kind of treatment. That is something that an Ayurvedic practitioner can recommend for you. But if it is just for maintenance as a dinacharya, not necessary to do it on an empty stomach, but consume it along with your meals. What kind of ghee that is fermented? I'm sure, Angela, you're asking what kind of ghee that is cultured. There's a cultured ghee, not fermented ghee. Cultured ghee is pure Indian ghee. Pure Indian foods is something that I would recommend. Or get organic. There is cultured butter from Whole Foods. You can make ghee out of it. Yeah, by Jayanti, there are so many fads out there where olive oil is being consumed, and they're saying that it is going to be good for you, and kidney stones. It's especially they're saying that this is going to be good for kidney stones. It's going to be good for liver detox. These are all the things that are mentioned, but I don't think Ayurveda would agree, especially doing it before bed. But then again, ghee is very important. The oils are very important because uh, your entire body, the myelin sheath that is present in your body, that is allowing the communication between your nervous system, and all the tissues are all communicating with each other because of this sneha, because of this fat layer. And that is why it is important for you to have proper fats. It's important for you to include proper fats in your diet. And that's why I always say ghee is very important. You can include sesame oil, include coconut oil, even olive oil, you can include that for your cooking. But ghee is the only thing that is given as a consumption, or medicated ghee is something that is given as a consumption in Ayurveda, but not olive oil. And if they're consuming olive oil daily before bed, there must be some reason why they're consuming it. And I will have to look it up, and I'll have to find out what is the imbalance that they're experiencing. But this is not something that is recommended for a healthy individual as a dinacharya if you don't have any particular condition. Meal prep for weekends completely throwing me off because of more outside time. Also, even on weekdays when you're not at home kitchen enough to not have enough time to cook, and you can still manage everything to have a convenience with like whole salads. Again, it is a choice that you're making for yourself. When you're saying that I don't have time, you're saying I'm making a choice to have fun versus have health. So that is something that we always have to have a balance upon. Uh, if you choose health, people will follow you. And of course, this is something that people want to learn also. even though you go out, you can choose foods that are beneficial for you. You go out and you will be able to find something for you to eat also. That's something that you can choose when you go out. But not cold salads. I would not recommend that, especially when there is excessive vata that we have in our body. Cold salads aggravate our vata. So you have to either plan your meals ahead of time, or you have to come back and plan your meals, or you have to do a meal prep for the entire week and get your groceries and everything. But it all is involved upon how much you can plan and how you can plan. And it's possible. I mean, once in a while, if you do it, like two times or three times a week, if you go out and if you're not able to, and if you don't have any problem and you eat cold salads, I'm okay with that. But then it's possible that you can prepare and plan ahead of time, because these choices will define whether you're healthy or you're unhealthy. You make your own choice. People take olive oil for the polishes that are, yeah. So the same thing that, Angela, in Ayurveda we talk about ghee. Ghee has all the anti-inflammatory properties, and omega-3 in it, and that is something that we recommend. And sometimes, depending on the condition, we do a medicated ghee instead of a plain ghee. But yeah, olive oil, it depends upon what kind. I have not read the properties of olive oil. This is again a hearsay. I've learned this. I've studied. I've looked up research on it, but I don't have an authority to say one way or the other about olive oil, and that's why I'm choosing not to say anything about it. Yeah, good. I'm glad that we are a short group, small group, and you're all able to ask your questions. I know it's 6:53 p.m. If you don't have any questions, we can then take our heart heart class, information about heart in the next class. I just realized only after I saw Christie's when I realized, oh, last week we spoke about Dinacharya. We were going to talk about Dinacharya, and that's why I thought that I'll talk about that so that you'll be able to incorporate that in your daily routine. Because knowing all of that basics is important before understanding how to protect your heart and how to take care of the heart. And that's something that we can talk about it in the next class. But I hope this was beneficial and this has given you some things, and I hope that you'll be able to incorporate these in your daily practice after you have learned all of these. I hope that you'll be able to incorporate this in your daily practice. Yeah, thank you, Shashwati, for joining. Thank
Yeah,
you.
this is my first class. So will I be getting this recording?
Yes, Priyanka. So what I'll do is I'll post it on YouTube, and you'll be getting a recording of that.
Great, thank you.
Yeah. And I have all the previous recordings also on the YouTube. You'll be able to go back and listen to all of those also if you choose to.
Sure, thanks.
Mhm. Amazing. Angela, is this your first time joining as well? I don't know. Oh, second time. Okay, good. Good, good. Perfect. So I'm glad that you're all enjoying it and you're able to ask your questions. Next time, bring all your questions and we will talk about heart health next time. See you all. Thank you all so much for joining. Thank you, Trini. Thank you so much for joining. Absolutely. Thank you, Prabha. All right. Thank you, Christy. See you all. Bye bye.